Diary of Dark One's Son is a look into the thoughts, opinions, and experiences of a young black man who is wrestling with the tough task of trying to make something out of himself in a very racist and hateful environment. It covers in detail the thoughts of a man as he observes and eventually learns how to cope and deal with the world around him. It is a story of a man who, while beset with many obstacles, learns how to overcome them in order to accomplish his goals and aspirations. This book is not for the faint of heart, and the opinions that are shared in this book can be deemed very offensive to some readers. If you think that you will be offended by the opinions shared in this book, the answer is simple. This is not the book for you. This book is merely the opinions of one man, and it should be taken as such. However, if you really wish to gain insight into the thoughts of a young black male in today's society, then look no further. Read this book. Excerpt from the book. From the chapter, Am I Visible or What? One day when I was walking home from school, I came across this other brother who was walking my way. In his eyes, I could see the sadness, the same sadness that was in mine. I knew exactly what was going through his mind too. He was feeling like an absolute nobody. How did I know, you ask? Because I was feeling the same way at the moment right when I walked past him. Have you ever felt, if you are a black man reading this, that you were invisible to the world? Not because you want to be, but because people refuse to acknowledge your presence. Read more when you purchase this book. This book can be purchased from lulu.com.
Hello, African Diaspora. Court is in session. So, of course, I take your questions and I answer them here on the network in order to assist you guys, help you out a little bit. I know you guys tend to like a lot of family questions, so let's roll through some of the family questions that have been posed. We'll start off with divorce and separation. Question: how do I sign a property deed to children with two owners who are the parents of the children when a secondary owner or the other parent refuses to sign the deed? The mother refuses to sign the deed that the divorce settlement states that she is to sign, and she must sign this over to the children. Court is in session, guys. This is what happens. A lot of the times you have these divorce decrees and they say that you're going to do certain things and the other person does not do what this divorce decree states that they should be doing. Guess what you have to do? What you must do, guys, is you must file what's called an enforcement of property division. You're going to file that motion for contempt, asking that the court hold the person in contempt that is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So what you're going to do is you're going to file most of the time you're going to need to hire a lawyer. And the reason that I say this is because the pleadings have to be very specific and finite. You have to refer to the exact decree. You have to state it properly when you're asking a court to enforce something. And if it's not stated properly and or attached to the petition, you could lose in court even though you're right. So substantively, you may be correct that the person's not doing what they're supposed to do. But if you don't plead it right, they can get out of it, and that will be the end of that, guys. So you always want to make sure in an enforcement that it is pled correctly. A person can file a motion to dismiss and get out of that if you don't plead it right. So get an attorney for stuff like that. You don't technically have to get an attorney. You can do it on your own, but you got to know, you got to answer you have to ask the proper questions, guys, in court, because they're going to hold you, the court is going to hold you to the same things that would hold a regular attorney to in making your case, because they cannot grant you relief if you don't make your case. So more than likely you're going to need to hire a lawyer in your state that is well versed with enforcement cases and ask them to take that person to court for failing to abide by the decree and failing to sign the necessary paperwork for the property division. One thing that you guys can do on your own is that you could send a certified letter to the other side with a copy of the decree and circling or highlighting what they're not doing. You can send that to them via certified mail on your own. Okay? Send that to them, and honestly, lawyers like to see that you've done that anyways. A lot of the times before we file an enforcement proceeding in court, we will certified mail the person, letting them know so that they cannot come to court stating they had no idea or they didn't know. because then we can prove that not only did you know, because you were in court and you signed the decree, or you should know that the court awarded this that way, but we also contacted you before the filing of this lawsuit. You failed to act. Therefore, court, make sure you hold them in contempt. Here in Texas, they don't throw people in jail for property division, but it's bad. You will get held in contempt of court. You will have to pay the other person's attorney's fees and additional fees that come along with the property division. And you don't want to you just don't want to do that, because what happens is they can issue a writ of attachment to get paid, and lots of bad things can happen to you when you don't pay a judgment in family court. Now, with child support and visitation, people can be jailed. Okay, but in property division here in Texas, we don't jail, but it's you will want to go to jail. You will want to be jailed. Wish you were in jail by the time you are paying excessive amounts of fees, $10,000, $20,000. You could have bought a car with it, and family lawyers are ruthless in collecting that money for their clients and themselves. Okay, so next case. Sir, you need to make sure she does what she's supposed to do. Not only can you sue, but because those children are minors and it's something that's supposed to be given to them, they can sue as well, because it has something to do with them. And she don't want to be sued by all of y'all. Next case. What can I do if my wife, which I'm trying to divorce, took everything in my house, even items that were mine before her, and ran off? I've been married a year. There was a domestic dispute, and I ended up in jail with a restraining order that kept me out of the house. Now I've come home to an empty house and a writing on the wall saying, remember why? Order in the court. Order in the court. Y'all, this happens a lot, okay? Let me tell you something. They are not allowed to pack up everything and leave, even if it was a domestic dispute. Not allowed. What you need to do, sir, is you need to go ahead and file a divorce against her. And in your divorce, you have to cite that she has robbed the estate, the marital estate. You need to seek what we call a reimbursement claim against her for everything that she's taken. And so, again, a lawyer may be necessary for this type of thing, but see, women think this is what they can do. They think that they can clean out the bank accounts. They think that they can move insurance policies around. They think that they can take everything and run off, because as long as you're married, it's everybody's property. There is something called robbing the marital estate, and that's what she has done, okay? Probably was wearing black when she did it. And so what you need to do, sir, is you need to file that divorce against her and get your stuff back. Because if you don't file the divorce and ask for this stuff back now, you stay married to her, then that's it. It's gone. Because generally what happens during a divorce stays with the divorce. But if you file based on that and you lodge those complaints in your petition, you will get back what you were supposed to get back, or there will be an unequal distribution of the estate whereby you will get other things that you weren't supposed to get. Let's say your retirement, you weren't supposed to keep it all. The court may award you all of your retirement because of the fact that she took so much. And so what happens is the court does a balancing test and sees how much stuff costs, right? So they're going to weigh the cost of everything that she took off with, and they're going to get it back for you in something else, either in some other property. Maybe they'll award it to you out of her retirement. So you may, because in Texas, it's a community property state, you're supposed to get 50%, but you may end up getting 60% to pay you back for whatever she took that she wasn't supposed to take. She can't do that. Domestic violence case or no domestic violence case, that is absolutely incorrect. She cannot rob the community estate. Now, I will say this. The court may award you, may say that it's your fault that the marriage broke up, depending on how the domestic dispute carried out or transpired or was started, okay? But at the end of the day, seek your reimbursement claim, guys. Seek your reimbursement claim. Every time somebody runs off with something, seek your reimbursement claim. If all of a sudden you look up and they have no retirement, seek your reimbursement claim, okay? But you got to leave them, and you got to file the divorce, and you got to say what they've done. You can't try to come back later and say, oh, well, 5 years ago, she emptied out her retirement. Because at that point, it's going to be hard to prove that she didn't put that back into the community estate in another way. If she paid light bills, if she paid whatever, how do we know that that wasn't from the money that she took from her retirement? So make sure you act quick, be swift on things like that, okay? All right, guys. Well, glad to see you guys. Make sure you pose your questions. Send them to me, booker@bookerlawfirm.com. Glad to be here to reach you and teach you. It's your favorite lawyer, Allie Booker. And until next time, I am signing off. Bye, African Diaspora. Court is now in recess.
Diary of Dark One's Son is a look into the thoughts, opinions, and experiences of a young black man who is wrestling with the tough task of trying to make something out of himself in a very racist and hateful environment. It covers in detail the thoughts of a man as he observes and eventually learns how to cope and deal with the world around him. It is a story of a man who, while beset with many obstacles, learns how to overcome them in order to accomplish his goals and aspirations. This book is not for the faint of heart, and the opinions that are shared in this book can be deemed very offensive to some readers. If you think that you will be offended by the opinions shared in this book, the answer is simple. This is not the book for you. This book is merely the opinions of one man, and it should be taken as such. However, if you really wish to gain insight into the thoughts of a young black male in today's society, then look no further. Read this book. Excerpt from the book. From the chapter, Am I Visible or What? One day when I was walking home from school, I came across this other brother who was walking my way. In his eyes, I could see the sadness, the same sadness that was in mine. I knew exactly what was going through his mind too. He was feeling like an absolute nobody. How did I know, you ask? Because I was feeling the same way at the moment, right when I walked past him. Have you ever felt, if you are a black man reading this, that you were invisible to the world? Not because you want to be, but because people refuse to acknowledge your presence. Read more when you purchase this book. This book can be purchased from lulu.com.